Good morning, Stouffville. You're listening to Stouffville Morning on Whistle Radio 102.9 FM. This Stouffville Morning with Patty and Edward. Good morning, Patty.
Good morning, Edward. You know, we're just having such a good time today. I can't even believe, sometimes what we do and what we come up with.
That's for sure. We have another special guest with us today, Patty.
We do. We
have Mr. Dan Masin.
Yep.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Dan, now you work as a mortgage broker in private life, but you put your name forward as a contender for the Conservative Party nomination for the local federal riding.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Congratulations. I want to first of all congratulate you on your public spiritedness. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Have you got a steel coat?
It's on order.
It's on order.
So now the Conservatives under Mr. Scheer are taking somewhat of a different line, somewhat of a more activist line, should we say, in politics these days? Is that? I
think he's taking the line where he's holding the Liberals accountable. Mm-hmm. Accountability means something.
Yeah.
If I tell you that I'm going to do something but never do it, what good am I?
Yes. Yeah. And so what was it that attracted you to the Conservatives and not to the other parties?
That's a good question. I believe in the basic principle that if you're running a household and you are making X amount of dollars, you have to budget yourself accordingly. You can't, if you're making $100,000 a year, $50,000 a year, $20,000 a year, whatever the case may be, you can't spend more than what you make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to be out on the street pretty soon.
Yeah.
I'm flabbergasted when I hear things like the federal Liberals want a $7 billion slush fund, but want to have zero accountability to where that money is going to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of interesting because you when you're talking about budgeting and so on, you made a comment about your son about not getting or taking a job because of the affordability of gas.
That's correct.
And we had
just happened 2 days ago.
Yeah, and we were talking about gas prices and how significant these changes or these what some people may perceive are smaller dollar changes are significantly impactful in people's lives in their every day.
Yes, very true.
And that's what led you to say, I'm
well, enough is enough.
I'm a fed up guy.
Our grocery prices, our gas prices, our house prices, our general cost of living has gone through the roof, but our wages haven't kept up. Mm-hmm. Getting slammed with another a carbon tax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's that going to do to us?
It exacerbates the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about your background. You've had experience in the volunteer sector, I believe.
Yes, as I was mentioning before, in high school, a friend of mine who I haven't seen since then, his uncle was Paul Godfrey. And he invited me to a couple events, and from there I got hooked.
No kidding.
Yeah, I really believe in the democratic system. I believe that everybody has a voice. I believe that everybody should have a voice, and you have to respect other people's opinions. I don't know. I just got excited about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what drew you into public life.
No, sir. 6 years ago, some people told me that I should run for politics, and I turned them down flat out.
Really?
And I was doing well. I was raising a family. I had 2 boys going through post-secondary education. The reality was I had to be responsible and get them through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My oldest has 2 university degrees. My son just finished at Georgian College in the HVAC program.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
I'm extremely proud of both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I did what I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was approached a year and a half ago And again, I said no, but then they said, come on, if you're going to complain about things, then you have to do something about it.
I think I think that's one of the things that, when you were saying, you were kind of fed up, and you might have been one of the ones who are complaining about different kinds of things, and not many people are going to be saying, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity, because obviously it must be a better time for you in your personal life to be able to do this.
Yes.
And I think that makes a big difference too, as well, being able to.
I have the opportunity, I have the time to devote to this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't think people realize the amount of time that people have to spend in something like this when you go into a public office. I really.
Well, I think
I can't relate myself.
It's almost as if you have to sign your life away, because your life is not your own. Your life is now the public's in the public domain.
Correct. Yes, to a degree.
Yeah, you're working for your constituents, and almost
1,000%. Yes.
Yeah. Now here in Markham-Stouffville, we have a very high-profile member of Parliament in Jane Philpott, the former Minister of Health, now the Minister of Indigenous Social Services.
Right.
She's going to be fairly difficult to unseat, I would reckon.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. I think that people are fed up with the Liberals. I think enough is enough.
See, that's confidence right there, eh?
Yeah, that's for
exactly.
sure.
I think I have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going in it to lose.
To give you an example of this lady, I won't say that she's without merit. I don't criticize people just because. But 3 years ago, I was walking through the forest with my dog, and it had snowed, and there was I was walking along the trail, and there was a tree limb that had fallen, but had been covered up with snow, and I didn't see it. So when I was walking along, my foot went underneath the log, and I tripped and twisted my knee.
Oh dear.
I was told that I needed surgery or a possible knee replacement. It took me the better part of a year just to see a surgeon. And then it took me another year to have the surgery. In the interim, I'm hobbling along. I can't walk properly. I forget running. I was a Canadian ski patroller for a few years. Forget skiing.
No kidding.
I couldn't do anything. The only thing I was good at was sitting on the couch, physically speaking. My doctors were the ones that said, well, look, call your MPP, call your MP, call your mayor, call your whatever. I got through to Justin Altman. He suggested that I call Jane. I called Jane's office 3 or 4 times without a return phone call.
Really?
And then finally I got somebody that said, oh, well, we'll take your name and number and thank you very much. The only thing that I ever heard from her office again was a Christmas card last year.
Oh, no kidding.
So, again, it's accountability. It's serving the public. If you ask me to represent you in some capacity, if I can or cannot, at least I deserve you the respect of getting back to you. So and giving you an answer.
Yeah. Yes.
So
and I said, you know what, sir, I'm sorry I can't help you.
Yeah.
Here's why.
Yeah. I think, and I think that's a learned experience as what not to do as a political person in office as well, right? For your sake.
Just an example of why I want to get into this and make things better for people.
So, let's cast our sight ahead, and I think it's 2019, the next federal election, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And let's say, Dan, that you're elected as a member of Parliament for Markham-Stouffville in 2019.
I like the way you think.
What is going to be your first step for the people of Stouffville as their elected representative?
Well, I haven't got that far, and I just have to be honest because that's the way I am. I look at things a little differently. In the next coming months and year, whatever, I want to hear from people to what they want me to do. Okay? Yes, I have my own thoughts and ideas and ambitions and whatever the case may be, but I'm just one guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to hear from you what you want me to do. What's important to you?
Right.
Get a consensus together. I'm not going to be able to, here's my honesty again, but I'm not going to be able to please everyone. Okay. I'm going to try and please as many people as I possibly can within the limited capacity I'm given.
No, that's a good important fact.
I hope that's a fair answer.
No, I think it is important. In fact, you find out what the people want before you start telling them
what's
what
important to you.
Yeah.
And
Is Main Street important?
And how
is
are
the
you-
environment important? Is mental health important?
How are you going to obtain that knowledge, and in what ways are you going to town halls, door to door? Like, how are you going to?
Tonight I'm going to the Macedonian Church on Main Street, Markham, and I'm going to be asking people what's important to you. What do you want as a representative of Parliament for me to act on your behalf?
Yeah. Yeah. See, I wonder if we could incorporate you in this discussion, because the voter turnout numbers for the youth in the nation have always been problematic, and it's high priority with the politicians to get the youth involved. What is your view as to why that is?
We're not educated enough. I will say that flat out. We have a joint course in high school called Civics and Careers that we take in grade 10, where we take half of a semester, not even a whole semester, just to learn what government is. We don't get to learn anything about the different parties. We don't get to learn anything about their policies. We don't get to learn anything about them. So a lot of kids my age are not educated enough to feel like we can make a decision on these parts. I know personally, I don't even know if I feel qualified enough to cast a vote, because I don't know enough.
So do you find that there is a lack of interest? Aside from not having the education, do you find that there's a lack of interest in people around you?
No, I find there's a lot of interest in political issues, but not enough education to be able to cast your vote on it, and not knowing enough about which party would be better to help said political issues.
Or represent your aligned interest as youth. Oh, okay.
Then from your point of view, I mean, mobilizing the youth vote would be a terrific positive for you.
It would be a fantastic, not just support, but involvement and getting people to improve the way our community functions. I was your age once upon a time ago, not too long ago, but I was there.
There's pictures to prove it, I'm sure.
To the point, my eldest son graduated as a business student, and it's funny, they didn't even talk about mortgages in his course.
Of course not.
And you know what?
Like,
financial plan, and these are, and Edward and I have talked about that. Some of these are such, because you're a mortgage broker by day, politician by night and day.
I'm not trying to sell myself.
No. And we're not saying where you're from, but the reality is, though, a lot of those key functions is where youth end up starting out and are so unprepared. Yeah. And you would figure that an educational system to represent, for political parties and what interests you have, and it's youth and others, but to be educated to know what you're looking for. Simple things like daily living functions of how do I get a mortgage? How do I pay it? Do I understand? The youth, and a lot of people
are very intimidated by the process.
Well, and not only that, one, you shouldn't be. Two, you can ask questions, and three, there's people to approach. And this is in anything, whether it's mortgage, whether it's politicians to be able to ask. And I think that's where maybe there's a bit of a gap too, is if people are feeling intimidated, young or old, that barrier needs to be eliminated too.
I just look at myself as a normal guy, and the way I handle my customers is in a very simplistic sense. Okay, I explain terms to them so they will understand. My best client is an educated client, and to get back to you, you need to educate yourself.
Yeah,
you
definitely
need to get involved. Okay, because one day you're going to hold a position of responsibility. You're going to be accountable to people. You're going to have to pay for some child's education. So you need to be involved.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess some of it is yes, information can be passed on, but it's also some accountability of yourself to kind of inform yourself, and that's not just youth; that's anybody who is going into
singularly.
Yeah,
I'm speaking generally.
No, quite true, and that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to be hoped for, because the youth not participating in elections amounts to a disenfranchisement of a whole sector of our population that
maybe
are very...
maybe they're just disillusioned. With the constant with the constant lies and broken promises, and oh, here we go again. That kind of thing.
No,
and what can one person do? Well, one person can do a lot if they get a number of people behind them, and that's what I'm looking for. Specifically, I want to mention something, though. And this was made very clear to me, so I want to make everybody understand that I am in no way representing the party as yet. I am not even representing our EDA yet, Electoral District Association. I am seeking the nomination to become the MP. And what that entails is people going out to the website conservative.ca, buying a minimum 1-year membership. I believe the cost is $15. Very nominal. And then, sometime after, and this is what I've been told, the date hasn't been set, sometime after our provincial election, they're going to call a meeting for nomination. They're going to call that election. And then the tough part happens.
More work,
No, I need people to actually, who are members of our party, to come out and vote for me. That's the key.
So one, good for the clarification, and two, good education to know there, right?
That's part of our political process.
I want to warn you then that I was once asked, how can you tell when a politician is lying?
By opening his mouth.
His lips are moving.
I've heard that joke before.
Well, we have to wrap it up this morning, actually.
I really greatly appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
I hope that I can inspire people. I hope that I can support Markham-Stouffville. And again, this has been a lifelong ambition, and it would be my honor to represent the people of Markham and Stouffville.
Well, based on your remarks today, you've certainly given the people of Markham-Stouffville a lot to think about, and we'll look forward to that nomination meeting and follow your progress with great interest. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you again for your time, sir. Thank you.